Hi everyone. Today we are going to see a flow learning. So yesterday I got a scenario. So relevant to that, I am today explaining. So the scenario is regarding um, I am selecting multiple records in a list view. When I click on a button, those selected records needs to pass into that flow. So that how we can configure in a flow. So that's what we are going to see in detail along with few scenarios. So I have already created those scenarios. So basically this for this requirement, so you can try it in any of the playgrounds which you have. So I have created two flows. So one is auto launched flow, another one is a screen flow. So in this auto launched flow, what's the scenario I'm doing is like I am getting the list of account records, and I am iterating those account records and checking the account side. If the account site is a blank, then I am updating the account site with the value of India. So for example, so this is one scenario. So another scenario what I am doing is uh, basically this flow is a screen flow. So the previous one which we saw is auto launched, and another one is a screen flow. So here also we are getting a contacts that are associated with those account records, and we are displaying in a data table screen. After that, we are selecting specific contacts to delete the contact records for that account. So these are the two scenarios which we have done for this case. So first, if you want to display a button in the list view, we need to create a button first. That one thing. So you can go for buttons, links, and actions, and you can go for a new buttons. So in that, you need to select a list button. So if you select a list button only, it will be appeared in the list view. After that, you need to mention the flow URL. So the flow URL, so I'll show first one, the auto launched flow. So as we mentioned already, it's like we are getting the accounts and we are checking whether the account site is null. If the site is null, for those selected accounts, we are updating the account site as India. So this is also a list button, and here I have pasted the flow. So after completion of the flow, what it needs to do, again it needs to return to my same list view. If I am selecting two accounts, if I click on that auto launched account update, so it needs to update this account site as India, and it should redirect to the same flow. So that's what I have done. So in order to redirect to the same list view, I have configured the return URL. If you want to set out in the flow, in the button itself, you can select return URL is equal to first three characters of the object. So my object is a account, so it's starting three characters is 001 for the object, and FCF is nothing but the list view ID. So here I have set up the list view ID. So this is the list view ID, so which I have placed. So that's it. So coming to here, so this is the flow which we are called here. So this is auto launch flow, as I already mentioned. So here what needs to be done, so in order to pass the selected records inside the flow, we need to create a record input variable. So the record input variable should be a collection type if we are going to pass multiple records. So and the name should be a unique one. So it should be IDS. It should not be anything else. It should be IDS, and it should be a text, and it should allow collection variables, and you need to mark it as available for input. Then only it will pass the record selected records into the flow. So there's no need of any assigning of IDs equal to this ID. No need of any setting up in the button. So here you can see I didn't mention something like ID is equal to anything else. Like you don't need to mention any kind of those things. Just the flow name is enough to pass the selected records. So later on it's like a simple process. I am passing that ID variable which I created, and based on that I am getting all the account records using in operator and storing in a collection variable. And after through that I'm iterating the account records through loop. Inside the loop I am checking the account site. So whether it's null, true. So if the account site is null, true, then it will go inside, and I am marking the site as India, and I am storing in a separate account collection variable. After completion of all the process, I am just checking whether the collection is present or not. If the collection is present, for example, if four records are already having India value, if I again select, it should not update. Only if the values which has been marked as India reason during this transaction should be updated. So this is the purpose why I have added a decision here. So after that, it will update the accounts. So I'll show a demo. So for which flow I have created, in order to differentiate it, I have provide the button name as something relevant to that. So it's auto launched flow. So I have mentioned as auto launched account update. So here I select three account. So here you can see three account doesn't have any of the account site information. So if I click on account update, so it will go, it's loading, and it's finished. So now we can see the three account site has been updated to India. So this is how. So it has, well, selected the account ID is selected. While clicking on the button, the selected account ID is passed into the flow. The flow is running and it is updating. After updation, while completion of the flow, it's coming again into the button, and it's checking, okay, there is a return URL mentioned. So as per the return URL, it's going to this specific list which we have marked. So that's how the first scenario works. Coming to the second scenario. So screen contact data table. So this is a screen flow basically. So in the screen flow, the same process. So if you are selecting the IDs and clicking on the button, so I'll show to the button. So since it's a screen flow, I have mentioned the name as screen contact data table. So it's a screen flow. So here also we have mentioned the flow name. After that, this is a return URL. It's not a mandatory to mention return URL. If the requirement mentions like it needs to be again written to the same list, you can mention it, or else no need. You can just mention the flow name alone. So while clicking on the button, it will first go into the flow. So and as we done previously, here what we are doing is, based on the list of accounts which we have selected, we are getting the contacts that are associated with the selected accounts, and we are storing it in the collection variable. So that's how. So if I'm selecting 5 accounts, so those 5 accounts related contacts will be pulled out and it will be stored in a collection. After that collection, I am taking a data table screen and I am displaying those contacts information. So after that, if I select any of the contacts and if I click on delete, so I'm checking whether the contact has been selected. If it is selected, I am going for delete element and I am deleting the contacts. That's how it has been configured. So it's a simpler flow only. So for example, here I select 3 accounts. So if I click on screen contact editable, so the button has been clicked and it's going to the flow. So it's loading. So since it's a data table, it requires few time. So now we got. So here we can see like the contacts list. So for each communication, we are having 2 accounts, and for Burlington Textiles Corporation account, we are having 3 contacts, and for um, Dixon Play, we are having 1 contact. So another one thing here I need to confirm. So the account name is not a straightforward work. So if in a data table, it's not possible to straight away get the account name. So I have created a formula field, custom formula field, and I'm getting the account name and I'm displaying in the data table. So here I am having these 2 contacts. I don't want text to contact now. So I have selected test contact 2 and I click on delete. So now again it's been reflected. So again I'll select these 3 and I'll check whether the context has been released. So now the test to contact has been deleted. So now we are only having 5 items. Before there was just 2. I have selected and I have deleted it. So this is how to pass a selected records into a flow through list button. So here I have a standard documentation from Salesforce regarding configuring the written URL. So it's not like we can pass to list view. We can pass to different pages. Like we can navigate to home page as well as chatter or any specific VF pages or a record page we can navigate. So these are the relative URLs and examples which standard Salesforce has been provided in these articles. So only thing there are certain limitations as we already discussed. If there is a feature, there will be certain limitations. So this S10 only it will work. So likewise here also we are having. So you can't use a flow variable as the value for the return URL parameter. So flow variable cannot be straight away used in a return URL. It can be either used with along with the VF page. So return URL as mentioned, you need to mention in this format, RET capital URL. So it's a case sensitive. If you mention RET U small URL, it won't work. So this issue I also faced while developing. So try to check the limitations of the written URLs before implementing any changes or any features. If you implement, if you face any issues, just check the limitations whether we have correctly implemented or not. Yeah, thank you.